Okay, a return guest, a favorite for both you guys listening and me hosting. Let's do it. There exists a threat, from anti-hunting groups to politicians trying to give our land away, and we won't stand for it. Those vast western landscapes provide the space for our wildlife to thrive and a place for hunters and anglers to fuel the fire that sparks their soul. In this show, we share our love of hunting, fishing, and conservation. Here, we provide the foundation to meet these threats through passion and the grit of the American outdoorsman. Welcome to the Western Huntsman Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Western Huntsman Podcast. This is Jim Huntsman, your host, coming at you from the Broken Tine studio right here in Clark Fork, Idaho. Guy, how you doing, man? Are you there? Are you there? Can I hear you?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
I can hear myself.
You know what? That was my fault. I pushed the wrong button.
Amateur hour. What the heck, Jim?
I had nothing fancy to say at the beginning either. I just wanted to bring you on. I'm pretty excited to talk to you, dude.
Heck yeah, bro. It's been a minute. We were rolling strong for a minute, and then
I know,
life happens and moves happen, and 5-10 foot of snow on homesteads happen.
Yes. Yeah, man. I don't even want to. You know what's crazy is it doesn't seem like that long ago when we were recording, because I remember I had you on and I think we had somebody else on.
It was me, you, and Garrett.
That's right. Yeah, and I kept peeking out the blinds of the hunting trailer here, the studio here, and I kept looking out the window and I'm going, holy shit, man, this snow is never gonna end. So, what you drinking tonight?
Actually, I don't have anything in front of me, dude. I got a lip full of Copenhagen and a spitter.
There you go. That'll work. That'd probably get me higher than a Chinese cut if I tried that right now.
My parents flew in today and they made the drive over from the Front Range, and they were like, "What are we gonna do?" And I said, "Well, it depends on if Jim hits me up or not." And he hit me up, and I said, "Well, you guys go to Walmart and go get some water shoes and whatnot, and I'll see you in about an hour or so."
So that brings it up, man. To those of you listening, Guy Duplantier, how'd I do on your last name?
Always perfect, bro.
Perfect. Okay. That you guys have heard in the past, we've done tons of episodes together, and he has, since we last spoke, moved from California to Colorado. He traded in his Birkenstocks.
Nah, you son of a bitch.
And he's probably got a pair of cowboy boots on now.
Nah, you know what? There's I got a rule with that, bro. You know, cowboy, that's a way of life. That's a gritty SOB.
Yes,
right?
It is.
And you got this Western fad or trend, right? All cowboy boots and hat, no goddamn cowboy.
No
Sons
saddle.
of bitches,
all hat, no cattle.
That's it, man. Put the flip flops and the Birks back on. And stop trying to rock that, because that's a lifestyle, man. That's some gritty sons of bitches, man. You can't fake that. I'm sorry.
That is, man. And I've worn cowboy boots most of my life, because I used to think I was a cowboy. I had horses and all this stuff. I did a couple of rodeos, but I never lived full time on a ranch or anything like that. And so, but I still wear the cowboy boots, and I'll tell you why. When you live on like a homestead and I'm using the chainsaw all the time, if I'm wearing anything but cowboy boots, I get a bunch of sawdust in my shoes. I get all sorts of stuff going on. And we don't have rattlesnakes, but where I grew up we had rattlesnakes, and that's where you get into the habit of wearing cowboy boots. As you're walking through the shade, they'll usually hit you right on the ankle, and they can't, unless they're a big son of a bitch, can't get through the cowboy boots. So I love my cowboy boots.
It's one of those sayings, right? Everybody wants to be a cowboy until it's time to do cowboy shit.
Exactly.
I ain't never done cowboy shit. I'm not going to pretend I'm a cowboy. My hat's off to you gentlemen and you ladies out there. Shit, there's some cowgirls putting it down too, man.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So I kind of want to get your initial reaction to the move to Colorado. Like what was expectation versus reality? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. So that's this was where I was supposed to be, right? I mean, this is, years in the making for me. I had to let my wife make the move, if that makes sense, in her time, right? My wife grew up in the same pretty much 7-mile radius her entire life. And you're saying, I want to go live at 7,456 feet and have to drive 2 hours to get anything, and you get a look like, you crazy mother.
So the Walmart you sent your parents to, is that like 2 hours away?
No, it's not that far.
Okay.
You could find a Walmart, like a bad habit, man. And so those bitches are everywhere now.
They're on every corner now, man. Mine's only, it's about 45 minutes or so to get over to it.
Yeah, it was about 20.
Yeah. Oh, that's not bad. Shit, man. You're all set up.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, Walmart. It's Walmart. I mean, I don't know how fucking set up you are with Walmart.
We don't go there very often, to be honest.
Yeah,
with
buddy.
Not our thing.
Yeah, never mind. We won't go there. I don't want to offend too many people. But no, man. I mean, expectation versus what it is, bro. I told her the criteria for me is to slow down life, get away from the crowds, and live amongst elk. I mean, my backyard has the largest elk herd in the nation, bro. Temperatures cool down. I'm on the back porch, and if I want to get details, I pull out the glass. If not, I just watch them walk on by, man. They've been as close as 10 yards to the backyard, and most of the time there's a little drainage in the back, and they'll walk, up and through that drainage on the hillside there. I ain't got no complaints, brother.
Do you ever hit them with an elk call?
I have a couple times. I don't know. This may sound foolish to some folks, right? And there's probably some good in understanding it more as you could do that, but I just don't. I don't want to do that in the off season. I don't want to condition them if that's a potentiality.
It could
so I tend
be
not to.
It could be a potential, but
yeah,
I will tell you, because we're rowing the same boat here. I've got elk right here on the property, and I will go sit and I'll hit them with a little cow call. I don't like blast them with a bugle or anything.
Right.
I'll hit them with a cow call, and every once in a while they always kind of acknowledge whether visually or they call back, but every once in a while it'll make them curious as to who made that sound, and so they'll start talking, and you learn a lot about cow calling, and it really dials in, like, they teach you how to say things, like, okay, we need to get out of here, or hey, who's that over there, or hey, where's my calf? All those things that some of these guys like the Elk Nut and Dirk Durham and all these dudes, they talk about the different ways, Chris Rowe, different ways to communicate with elk. You can hear them explain that, or you can go do what I just mentioned, and it's such a quicker way to kind of grasp it and have it stick in your mind. Anyway, I went down a tangent there.
No, not really. I mean, it's elk, bro. I mean, is that really a tangent?
It's a necessary tangent. That's what I call it.
What I've been doing is I'll sit out there, and for me, it's watching the body language, watching how they interact, and a lot of it is non-vocal, right? A lot of it is visual communication and body language, and the amount that I've picked up just watching the visual communication has been phenomenal. And you won't hear them getting very vocal when they're in a group like that. And I would say within a half mile of my house, there's 3 different herds that'll come down. You branch out on that, another mile, there's 5. And as I watch them, they all have the same type of pattern. If they can see each other, you don't hear anything really.
Huh.
And when there's some separation, this hillside behind the house, pinyon juniper and whatnot on that hillside, and as the herd moves down the drainage, and there's still some that are, wandering around up there, they'll communicate a little bit. And the biggest, dude, is how much command the lead cow, the matriarch, how much command of the herd she has. That has been, I knew it and I've seen it, but it's been mind blowing to watch it, that much. And it's just like, wow. Like
it's amazing, man. They
really don't do nothing she doesn't say to do.
Yeah. It's kind of like us. And our wives. We, you know, I like to think I'm in charge. You know, it's interesting too. It's interesting. In September, it's the same kind of thing, right? Where a big bull will come in, and you think he's king shit. You know, he's got his harem, but it really is that lead cow that's still directing him, right? And she's like, okay, you're just part of my group. You know, that reminds me. Did you know that? Because you were talking about not wanting to condition the elk and whatnot. I'm kind of I feel the same way for the most part. That's why I don't bugle at them. But I will cow call only on my property, but I don't hunt elk on my property. So, did you know that cow or doing any kind of calling to elk in Yellowstone was like a federal offense?
I did not know that, but it doesn't surprise me.
How stupid is that? There was a rumor. I'll just because I was going through Yellowstone a week and a half ago, on our way back from Cody, and you know, somebody, I don't know, I'm not going to say who, found a cow elk and started using that new Phelps call at it.
The easy sucker.
The easy sucker, and boy did she like it. And well, apparently that is a federal offense. And so somebody posted a video of this going on and had to take it down because somebody else told him that was a bad idea. And so who would have known? I mean, you're in the world's biggest petting zoo. People are riding bison all day long or getting...
That doesn't make sense. So that... What's funny about that, that guy's an elk caller. He's calling elk. He's probably a hunter. And they'll sit there and try and, piss on your tree. But then these frickin' people walk up 5 foot within a herd with their kids.
Right.
And that's somehow not an issue. I just don't get it.
Oh my God. There's an Instagram page, dude. And it's called Taurons of Yellowstone. I heard it on the Joe Rogan podcast. I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast, and he's like, you got to check out Taurons of Yellowstone. And it's got all these videos of tourists getting launched by the bison. And I mean, it blows my mind that people don't grasp the concept of wild animals. Like they do. They think they're in a damn petting zoo. So what's been a surprise, man? Because California kind of has this cultural thing, and Colorado has their own, every little region of the country has their own little cultural nuances kind of shit, and so I'm super curious, what's been a big surprise to you because how long have you been there now? 3 months?
I think 5.
5 months?
Yeah, 5 months.
Spring. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest surprise?
These motherfuckers can't drive.
What do you mean?
Oh, bro. Okay. So I hear it all the time, right? Oh, Californians can't drive, and I get that, right? I get it. I totally get it. But I've noticed that the only skill is go fast on the right.
Oh, really?
Because there ain't no defensive driving skills. It's still to this day it blows my mind. They
cannot be worse than Utah drivers, man.
That's a rough one, bro. Like we're trailering the side by side, okay? Uh-huh. We're exploring. We're trailering the side by side, and the speed limit, is 75 or whatever, and I'm doing 75, just cruising, right lane only. And you get somebody, and it's wide open highway. They're pulling up 5 foot behind you, riding your ass. I'm in the right lane. You got the left lane to pass, right? And it's like, move over before you get 5 foot off me. One, I'm trailering. You don't know me. You don't know if I took the time to make sure I'm hitched up right. You have no idea. I got 6,000 pounds behind me. Don't be an idiot. And it's funny, dude. So that's my thing. Is like, go fast on right. I mean, it just it blows my mind. Huh. It's pretty funny, but
so that's been your biggest surprise by moving there was the shitty drivers.
Yes, because you got to, the last few years I'm here for the entire month of September, mm-hmm. right? And then if I pull a scouting trip, or if I'm coming out to do an archery shoot and podcast from a shoot, so I spend a lot of time here anyway, and that's really all the the difference at, you know what I mean? And dude, we're kind of removed where we're at, right? We're Western Slope, so we're not front range.
Yeah.
So some of the shenanigans and partaking in the shithead activities, I'm not exposed to as much being front range, or excuse me, being Western Slope.
So you're it's a lot more rural where you're at. So you're not in like Denver
absolutely.
kind of thing. Yeah.
No, that was like frying pan to the fire, right? I mean, you want to get away from it and you put yourself back in it. That's just not, smooth move X-Lax type shit. But, it really hasn't been nothing that I haven't seen spent in September here. I mean, you got it there. It's so diverse too, right? You got your hippies and your weirdos.
Yeah.
Just like anywhere,
you are in
bro.
Colorado. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, look at this guy. Hey, come on, man. Idaho ain't that far behind. I like it to be true.
I like to portray Idaho like there's no hippies here, but there are. And actually, I got a couple of them that are my friends.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you got damn near a son-in-law coming in, vegan and all that. So. Son
of a bitch. I don't know. So you move over there, and 5 months or so now. What's the wife's reaction been? How is she liking it? How's that going?
It was at first, okay, so she was working from home. She worked for the same place for 18, 19, 20 years or something like that. So when she first got here, she was working from home, and I could see that was having an effect, right? We're basically on an island. She doesn't know anybody. Mm-hmm. She's in the house all day long working, and it was like you could just see it, right? But then you step out in the backyard, and you're like, wow. And every once in a while, she'd walk down. You could see it on her face. She'd look around. She'd be like, I fucking love it here. And I'm like, yeah. And the more, so she's employed here, and the more that we get out and do, it was like we never missed a beat, dude. It was just like it was meant to be.
That's awesome.
And it was such. This has been in the making, right? And it just took a while to kind of get her. For the lack of a better phrase, brave enough to make the move, right? It's not an easy thing. Both of us were, employed, long-term employment, making damn good money. We were taking a hit financially. Mm-hmm. So that's a big step, dude. I mean, a lot of people would leave where they're at. Well, people would leave where they're at now, but you gotta nut up, right? I mean, it's shit or get off the pot type stuff. Mm-hmm. So it took some, I give her a lot of credit. It took balls to follow me, you know what I mean?
For sure.
It was just like, but I think, she loves it, man. We got a lake that's about 12 minutes away, and we're out there fishing and paddleboarding on the weekends, the whole day, and just enjoying.
Were you out fly fishing the other day? Was that what you were doing?
I haven't, since the low snow melt, I haven't been on the river. It's been pretty brown, and the levels were heavy with the flows. So I found, there's two lakes within 20 minutes of me. One of them is within like 12 minutes, like I said, and it's, tiger muskie, pike, and shit. We've been going over there, dude, just about every weekend, just going crazy. Drop the crawfish traps in while I'm, throwing cranks from the shore. And
that's what I saw you do. Man. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
post. Yeah, that's one of the ones I saw.
Dude, Friday evening, I take down a couple crawfish traps. Grab my pole, run down the road a few minutes, and get some crawfish in that trap, and throw out for some fish. Man, just hang out for a couple hours, come home, cook them up, and good to go, bro. You can't. I don't know if you can beat that shit.
No, the only thing concerning are some of the following headlines I found that come straight out of Colorado. Are you ready for these? I want to get some reaction here from a Colorado, a newly minted Colorado resident. Okay, quote, man hires stuffed owl with law degree as his defense attorney. What happened there? What's going on with that?
That's some good smoking shit right there. That's only one explanation, bro. That guy is high as a fucking kite.
Okay, I got another one. Self-described alien abductee charged with child pornography.
Democratic.
Okay, probably a Democrat. Yeah. Why were these shocking cattle mutilations caused by aliens? Man, you have some weird ass like these are real
Well,
headlines.
you know what that is, right? It's that stupid ass decision to let wolves out here, and now they're trying to sidestep that shit with aliens.
Oh, you'll like this one. Check out this elk's little bit of bling. That one's not that strange. I think they had an elk down there that got her head stuck in a tire somewhere. I'm not sure.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Probably up in Estes, man. There's all kind of weird shit with the elk and Estes, you know.
Yep. I was gonna find. There was another one. I can't find. Let's see. Real life. Creepy dad files obituary for 7-year-old son who's still alive. Well, that one's not. I mean, that's weird. That's weird shit, but it's not super like Colorado-esque. I like the really weird ones.
Yeah, that's I like this. That's pretty morbid, though, bro.
It is
like,
super morbid.
Fuck does that?
Like you said, drugs, man. They probably have. They need to try ham and eggs for breakfast instead of shrooms.
Yeah, no shit.
Colorado embalmer sold gold teeth from corpse. Hey, I mean the guy's got to make a living.
I was gonna say, I don't really see anything wrong with the gold teeth selling, unless they told him expressly that he had to leave them in the fucking mouth.
Yeah, unless it was written. Loaded guns and web surfing don't mix. Okay, that's enough of those headlines. Overall, though, man, you liking it?
Yeah, but wait, hold on. Where the hell do you find headlines like that? That's the problem.
Look, man,
that's the problem across the board nowadays, right? The media, we gotta suss that shit out, bro.
I am not saying I'm not saying the headlines are true, and I can't divulge my sources.
Oh, that's geez, what I wouldn't either with that bullshit. Oh, that's great. But yeah, man, all in all, it's been a hell of an experience. You know, just the fact, like I said, that the biggest thing was going, holy shit, like I saw that through. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you finally made it happen.
Yeah, you know, so that's, and I don't care how old you are when you're, I think especially when you get up there in your years, right, and you're making, you're talking a hell of a change, you know. It's just phenomenal, dude. I look by, like I said, White River National is the largest elk herd in the country. I'm literally 4 right turns and 11 miles to the top, and I'm there.
God, that's fantastic, dude. That's super cool. I love the fact that, because that's been how I've been living for, you know, a long time, and so it's just it never gets old. You know, I might get old, but living in elk country, and I always use that hashtag on Instagram, you know, hashtag elk country, because I love that one. And I've done it for a long time, and it never gets old. I get, like this morning, I've got those you know, Reveal Tacticams all over my property, so I know when something's on it. And I figured out kind of like, what's really cool is I figured out the buck corridor. These big bucks, this bachelor group of bucks keeps cruising through, and they'll hit the one camera, and then like 20 minutes later they hit the next camera, and then 30 minutes later they hit the bottom camera, and then they're off my property, and they just make this big round loop, you know, every other day. Anyway, it never gets old. I still get excited. My camera was going like half an hour before we connected here and started recording. It was going ape shit because I've got 4 or 5 elk up there passing through on my high cam. And it never gets old. I mean, it just never gets old. So I'm really excited for you too. And how? Go ahead.
I was going to say, even like the little nuance shit, right? The birds you see, you know, driving up to the house and looking over, and you got 4 bald eagles flying around, and, you know, cruising next to the river, and there's an osprey flying over it. It's just, you know, it's shit that you're in awe of because you see it, you know, if you're traveling like I was to elk country, you know, once a year for that month, and you're just awestruck. But man, you can see it every day, and it's the same awe-inspiring, like, you know, thank you God for putting me here. You know, damn, I live here. Like, you can't every day, dude. I'm driving down the street this morning, you know, and it's the crack ass of dawn, and I'm like, thank you God. Like, I live
man. I know exactly that feeling.
Yeah, bro.
Now, didn't you in California? Did you live at like sea level?
Oh yeah, 17 foot above.
So when you would travel to Colorado to hunt, did you ever get like the elevation sickness kind of thing, or
Only when I went up above 10,200 is when it would kick my ass.
That's when it would kick in. Okay. Because
kick my ass.
I'm trying to. I know there's a lot of listeners that live at low elevations that go to places like Colorado and anywhere out west, and they're hitting these higher elevations. And I'm curious how you think, like, living there, because you're at over 7,000 feet now. That's actually pretty significant elevation, by the way.
Yeah.
So you're living at like 7,000 feet, and how that relates to how you feel like you're prepped elevation-wise and lung-wise capacity. I've, with the exception of my time in the military at sea level at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, I have always lived high up in the mountains, right? And so now Clark Fork, Idaho is not that high, but it's still, a few thousand feet. I think I'm at 2,200 feet here, and then where I hunt, you're starting out at about 4,000 feet. So anyway, I don't remember how I asked that, but if that made sense. But like how that relates to now you live there. Do you feel like if you went to 10,200 feet elevation tomorrow to hunt elk, would that impact you?
You still feel it, right? It's not the same impact. Yeah, you still feel it, right? You lose that oxygen, so you definitely feel it. Now the effects on my body, it's not as great as it was coming out and then jumping to that elevation. But yeah, you still feel it. You really have to spend the time up there and get physical up there. Behind me, we get up to about 11,000. And you just got to spend the time. I mean, if it's folks traveling out, right, the rule of thumb is 8,500 feet. They say 8,000, but for me, it's 8,500 feet, 2 days to acclimate. So, I think that's a better scenario, right? And if we're talking guys coming in, sorry, go ahead, brother.
Well, I just, like, before we get there, what is because I've always lived in high elevations. I've never had elevation sickness, and I have hunted at 11,000 feet before. So it's never done anything to me, and I always just kind of attribute that to I grew up, where we lived, it was about 4,800 feet, and everywhere we went was always higher. So I'm curious, like, what it does to you. What does it make you feel like you're sick? Do you feel like you have Corona variant Delta 59 or 214 or whatever they're on?
B4 T11. It depends, right? There's three types. There's HACE, which is high altitude cranial epidemia, or
Dude, you got wow. That was impressive, man. Holy shit.
High altitude. Now you're gonna screw me up. There's HACE, and
come on, man. There's a lot of
and
pressure.
Then high altitude. No, there's no pressure. High altitude pulmonary edema, and then there is high altitude flatulence expulsion. So one gets it basically in a nutshell. One gets in your head, right? That's the one that I get going up too fast, and you get this. It's the gnarliest headache you'll ever experience, right? For me, last year I went from 17 foot above sea level to 11,000. I think it was 11.2 or 11.4. And I missed opening day because of it. Really, really bad headaches. Your eyes feel like they're bulging. I'm sleeping and I'm like waking up to throw up, right? Like you can't move, you're throwing up. So that's the cranial. And then there is the pulmonary. And the pulmonary, I've never had it. But you get like a pinkish sputum and you're coughing that shit out all the time. That one is the most common. And
God, that sounds nasty.
Yeah, the high altitude flatus expulsion, you get altitude farts. And
that's what I was gonna say. Like that sounds like gas or something.
Yeah, and that shit is no joke either.
Really?
Like
you scare all the elk away?
Dude, you take 2 steps and you're ripping one. You take another 2 steps and you're ripping one. Because I got that shit.
I had no idea, man. I had no idea you had one that blow your britches out or whatever.
Yeah, it was funny because I'm like, man, what the hell did I eat to cause my stomach just like, what the is going on? And my buddies are like, dude, what the hell? And I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on with what I ate. Like, what the heck? And I did an episode with one of the doctors here that is with the altitude research in Colorado. And when I was talking to him, I was trying not to be funny but I wanted to bring it up because I'm like, dude, you know, what the heck? And he goes, oh yeah, you get the farts like crazy. This is a doctor.
Oh, really? Did you just do that episode recently, or?
No, I did that
while?
episode. I did that episode last year.
If you're anything like me, you're always looking for ways to improve your elk hunting skills for September. And one of my favorite ways is the Elk Collective. It's an absolute game changer in self-education. This virtual elk hunting course has over 150 videos that cover everything from elk calling, strategy, tips, setup, gear, much, much more. There's a bunch of people involved. Some of the best elk hunters in the woods are involved with the Elk Collective, and they've come together to put together this virtual course to help you notch more tags in September. So check it out at theelkcollective.com and use promo code, all one word, The Western Huntsman, for $20 off the entire course. That makes the course only $69. It's a great deal, and I promise if you go through this course, you will go into the elk woods with a lot more confidence and a much better chance at notching a tag on the mighty Whopping. Hoffman Boots is the boot choice of the Western Huntsman podcast, and it has been for a very long time. I love my Hoffman in the Explorers, in the 6-inch or the 8-inch. They have all sorts of options for you to check out. Hoffman Boots is my go-to boot because I am a firm believer that when it comes to gear, the one piece of gear you don't want to skip on is boots. Get really good boots, and if you choose to do some Hoffman boots, you're going to find out why I highly recommend these hunting boots. Made by a multi-generational family of shoemakers, these boots are made right here in North Idaho, and I've got an excellent deal for you if you choose to go with Hoffman boots. Use promo code AllCapsLockHuntsman10 for 10% off. Get you some of these boots and find out why I love them. They're totally waterproof. They're going to give you great traction on the mountain. They're super comfortable. There's very little break-in period. Can't recommend Hoffman Boots enough. Check it out, guys. Next on the list is Scree gear, high-octane hunting attire without breaking the bank. You want to go into the field with good camo, right? You want camo that works, that'll keep you dry, that'll keep you comfortable. You want layering systems, the merino wool, the rain gear, all the things that make hunting a little bit easier and allows you to stay in the field a lot longer. The problem with most of it is it's super expensive. Not with Scree gear. Scree gear will give you all the high-end technical gear that you want without having to take out a second mortgage, and that's why I like it. And to make it even better, got a promo code, The Western Huntsman, all one word, and that will give you 15% off and free shipping. It's a heck of a deal, guys. I recommend checking out like their bundle packages. They have like the elk bundle or the whitetail bundle or the turkey bundle. All those bundles come with multiple pieces of gear, and you won't regret getting this gear. It's great stuff. Check out Scree at ScreeGear.com. Oh, and you want to call in an elk? Use Phelps Game Calls. I've been using Phelps Game Calls since just about the beginning of Phelps Game Calls. It's a great company story, too. This company started in a little garage and is now one of the premier call companies on within the industry. I mean, you can't go wrong with Phelps Game Calls, whether it's turkey calls, predator calls, waterfowl, or especially I think the bread and butter is the elk calls. And I use the Maverick, I use the Pink, I use the Gray Amp. Check out the AMP series. If you're new to calling, I recommend getting a couple of different ones and trying them out. Find out which one works best for you. But I promise you, I'm not steering you wrong when it comes to Phelps Game Calls. It's a great company full of great people that make excellent products that actually work, and the proof is in the pudding. Call in a lot of elk, and you will too if you trust me by going to PhelpsGameCalls.com. I got a promo code for you, right? Huntsman10 for 10% off your Phelps Game Calls, and check them out. Phelps Game Calls, get them close. Two last items. Check out the Reveal cell cams from Tacticam, whether it is for hunting or security. These are excellent cell cams that I have all over my property. To include, I put them on some job sites for some security, so people I know if they're stealing materials or whatever, I'm going to catch them. And another little promo code I like to throw out there is for Baitum907 for anybody that is hunting bears, spring or fall, and you are allowed to bait. Don't forget to go to Baitum907.com. Since made in Alaska, use promo code Huntsman10 for 10% off. The stuff works, and it works well. Let's get back to the show. Here we go. For those of you that are may not know who Guy is, if you're just starting listening to either this show, he does a podcast, Western Contours. Sorry about that. I meant to say that in the beginning, dude.
Yeah, no biggie.
But you know what? That's payback for your lack of episodes. I noticed last couple months.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna go there.
Yeah, you knew I was gonna go there. I go through withdrawals, man.
Man, we could talk about that. That's a different topic, but we can go down that road. Let me see. I'm trying to see what episode that was. That was actually a really good one.
That'd be a super good one for anybody that's planning on traveling out there. I mean, that's helpful stuff. Especially because think about it, man. 17 feet to 10,000 or 11,000. That's a huge difference, and your body is just not accustomed to that. And so when you get out there and then you ask your body to do all these physically demanding things like chase elk across over a mountain, that's why. And people need to be aware of it. And I've heard. Maybe you talked to that doctor about this on your episode on that podcast, but I've heard that those what do they call those, elevation masks? Or whatever they are. I heard that those really don't work.
So okay, and we talked about that a little bit, right? And my opinion of those, because I have one, I was like, well, I'm gonna do anything that helps me. And he said, they don't simulate the altitude, but they do help strengthen the diaphragm, which could pay its own benefit as you're up at altitude. So, not to say that they're garbage. I don't think that they are. I did notice a bit of a difference with my PT when I was wearing it. They're just hard as hell to get used to.
Yeah.
The key, and that's what I was going to say before, the key with altitude sickness is your acclimation to altitude, right? So 8,000 to 8,500. They say 24 hours. I think if you could pull 2 days, it's worth its weight in gold, because on the other side of that, if you get stuck with it, right, if it hits you, you're coming down the mountain. Mm-hmm. And to clear the effect, it depending on the person, right, it can take 2-3 days to clear the effect of it. For me, as long as I get down below 9,000 pretty quick, it clears up almost instantly. Like the headache's gone. You still like, I felt like that, like my eyes were affected. Like I had arterial, I don't know what they're called in there, but like my eyes were just super red, from the arteries busting.
Yeah.
So it can be bad. But it's episode 248 with Dr. Peter Hackett.
Okay, Dr. Peter Hackett, episode 248, Western Contours podcast.
Yep. He's a clinical professor of altitude research, with the Altitude Research Center here in Colorado. So he's legit, really cool guy.
That's cool, man. That's a great idea for an episode too.
Did
that episode get like more downloads than other ones?
It got a whole heck of a lot, man. It's a really
crazy.
It's a really informative episode. And it's a lot of hunters. He says during hunting season, that's when they see the uptick. And I don't think that people realize, that effect on them. I know for me, man, it was bad. Like I felt, I've had it twice, and that's the problem with it, is once you have it, you're more susceptible to it repeating. And that's the bitch with it. So yeah, you guys take care of yourselves and watch that. Yep.
Yeah, no, I always like when especially hunting podcasts, I always like when they find a very specific thing with a very specific expert, like an elevation doctor for hunters. I mean, that's freaking brilliant, man. Like
I actually wanted to do more, right? Because there's a lot of research on it, and as I was doing my own, I felt like there was some conflicts in the research, but with Dr. Hackett, I felt like his was, at least in my opinion, was pretty thorough and complete, and he had years behind him on it. So it was, it was pretty legit.
Sweet, man.
So you want to go down that no episode thing?
Yeah, I do. That's exactly what I was going to ask. So let's talk about that, because I really did. I used to listen. That's not true. I still listen to a lot of hunting podcasts. And yours is one I've just always, I listened to yours before I even had mine.
Mm-hmm.
And
appreciate that.
And I've just, I've kind of gone down this new path this last couple of months of listening to podcasts that are not hunting related. And it's interesting doing that too, by the way. You learn a lot about what you can do to kind of like help your show. I don't know. That's a totally different subject, but you know what I'm saying. And
no, so, I got you.
But I'm kind of, I love hunting podcasts, but there's a lot, it's been so saturated with a lot of new ones, and I always wanted to like try them out and hear them and stuff like that. But you know, a lot of it is just kind of broken record stuff. To be, you know, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but
no, I feel you, bro.
You know, it's like, man. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that.
So when you that is what highlights my my frustration when you're not doing episodes.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, right? So you know, you make this big, you know, life-changing move, but then there's things that you have to suss out because of that, and on top of that, you're looking around and you're going, "What in the hell's going on in the world?" Like, what is this and what is that? Which way is up? And I honestly felt like I had to evaluate the benefit for myself in doing it, but also the benefit for everyone else. And I felt like it's almost a selfish endeavor, right? Because we get into it because we want to hear these stories and we want to talk hunting. And hunting already is kind of a selfish endeavor. Yeah, we put food on the plate, but it's solitude and man time and, you know, that kind of shit. And I had to really figure out, bro, like, is this what I should be focusing on with all the shit show that the world is in? And I didn't know if it was me just being selfish or you just have to evaluate. Like, I need to check myself because there's so much going on. Like, there's not better shit to focus on than hunting at the moment. Like, I'm watching people lose it.
Hell no.
Well, you look around you, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, your world is only so big, but then you look around and other people are literally suffering through shit. And it's just, I just, there was a part of me that just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right to do it because of where we were, and we're still there.
Oh,
but I really had
to. Totally
I had to evaluate it for myself and say, you know, what am I doing and why am I doing it? The reason I started doing it was to highlight the everyday story and, you know, get that shit out there. And it just felt weird for a little bit, dude. It honestly, it was just like, fuck, man, with all that's going on. Wow.
You kind of went through that last year in, you know, late summer. I remember talking to you about some of these same things, and it always amazes me how things so far removed from your own small world can have such an impact on your own small world. You know what I mean? Like these, I don't know, I'll give you a great example. These woke motherfuckers. I don't live by any of these people. Like, that is not reality in my neck of the woods, and I suspect that it's not reality in the majority of America. But they're so loud and such fussy crybaby, you know, controlling little freaks that push this woke bullshit that it ends up affecting all of us, and like it makes it so like guys like me and you were talking about it, and it's so in your face throughout media and on social media and through other radio shows or podcasts or you know, even TV. You know, they've really ruined some really great television shows with this woke bullshit, and it's got to go. Like, and you know, I've actually been quite impressed with some of the kickback or the lack of tolerance for this wokeness from a lot of people. I think people are sick of it.
Fed up.
Yeah, we're sick of it. Like, we don't want to be controlled by your little bitch ass that can't take a joke. Like, you're trying to cancel people that we think are funny. They're comedians. They're supposed to do that. Or whatever. This TV show is canceled or that athlete is canceled. You know, we're sick of that. This is freaking America. We don't need to tolerate this shit. If you don't like it, shut your mouth and go away. We don't fucking care about what your opinion is. And so,
and that's the thing, I think too, right? Is that we don't care. I have my opinions, I have my views, but I'm always willing to listen to opinions and views of someone else. I don't have to fucking agree with you.
Exactly.
Right? I don't even have to like them.
It's not about
but
agreeing.
I will respect. Right. I will respect the fact that we can have differing views. That's what makes this a great country. That is how it's supposed to be.
That's how things get achieved.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what's that saying? If you're in a group of in a room full of people, discussing something and everyone has the same idea, it's all fucked up or something along those lines. I butchered it, but you get the gist, right?
I totally get the gist.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't bode well to progress at all. It hinders progress, and I think that's why people are no pun intended, but they're waking up to this wokeness. It just doesn't belong in America, and it's such a lack of maturity to think and have the ego big enough to think that your emotional reaction to something negates everybody else's opinion and belief system. Like I'm a principled man, and I really don't care if somebody wants to run around and come up with some new gender that they want to call themselves. I don't.
You do you.
You do you, but don't expect me to lie to myself and lie to everybody else by falling for that and going along with it. And that's my opinion. I'm not going to mistreat you, but I'm not going to, if you ask me about it, I will tell you. It reminds me of the story that Abraham Lincoln told. He says, he was asking a room full of people, if you are counting the legs on a dog and you include the tail, how many legs does a dog have? And everybody answered 5. And he said, wrong. Just because you call the tail a leg doesn't make
that motherfucker a leg.
Yeah, and I can't verify whether or not Abraham Lincoln told that story, but I'm an amateur historian, and it sounds like something Abraham Lincoln would say. So throw that caveat out there. But anyway, that's goes to your point, man. I'm just sick of it.
You look around and you see all this shit, and for me, like you said last year, right? I mean, think about what was going on. This shit's been going on for a couple of years now. Mm-hmm. When I was in California, I mean, they're a block and a half away from the fucking house, and I'm like, okay, I got to protect my family, I got to protect my shit. What happens? Because they can go out and be lawless and do all the shit they want to do. As soon as I go to defend my shit, then I'm the one in trouble.
Yeah, you're the one that's you're the one that has to have accountability, and they're without it. It's bullshit.
Dude, that shit, you want to talk about a level of stress? That shit ain't no joke, dude.
I would be in big trouble if I lived somewhere like that.
Oh, it's but that's the thing. That it's like anything. Bring the shit to my front door and we got a problem, right? If you keep that shit away from me, I could give a rat's ass. I don't give a flying chili bean fart whether or not you want to live that way. It does not affect me.
Exactly.
That is your gig. Go do you. I'm going to do me. Just don't fuck with me. And as soon as you bring that shit to me, you come knocking on my door with it, then that's when we have an issue. The problem is these motherfuckers want it in everyone's house, and it doesn't belong there. But I'm starting to think it's not about all this media bullshit. I don't think that their narrative or their push is anything about a coming together or an acceptance.
No.
Because I think it's them creating a divide that probably, maybe in some instances it was there, right? Or emphasizing a divide, right? Because
exploiting what already exists. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Because who cares if you're not I don't know that I know anyone that gives a shit about what I do if I don't affect them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even make sense. I talked to a ton of fucking people. I had in California a couple hundred people working for me. People don't care. Yeah, there's bad apples, right? There's shitheads.
Yeah, every group's got one.
There's shitheads, but for the most part, people are good, right? It's all this bullshit. And then when people start to buy into the bullshit because they feel like, oh, I fit in that group. And I think that's what they're doing with all this shit, is they're searching so they can create these divides. whatever that means, conspiracy theorist, foil hat. It's like, don't buy the bullshit. The man next to you is a good man.
There is a lot to be said for the side of it that turns to, I don't even know the right word, but I feel like there's a lot of grown-ass Americans that for some reason have a lack of fulfillment in their life, and they need attention, and they need like a tribe.
That's why you started a fucking podcast.
It is. No, and it's like
came out the closet.
Oh man, you busted me. No, but you look at this stuff like who in their right mind? Like, think about this. Who in the fuck sits there and thinks that, okay, I'm going to believe this way, and if somebody doesn't agree with me, I'm going to make a big stink out of it and call them intolerant and bigots and racists and all this stuff, right?
But what's the percentage? What's the real percentage of people that are like that?
That's what I'm saying. It's like less than 5%. It's just like the population. If you want to relate it into hunting terms, if you actually take the amount of people that buy hunting tags and compare that to animal rights activists, hostile vegans, and anti-hunting extremists that are active in those causes, hunters outweigh that group. So we're less than 5% of the population in the United States. So they've got to be half of that, if even.
Yeah.
But who do we hear in the media? Who do we hear more from? We hear from hostile vegans, anti-hunters. That's who we hear from.
But that's part of the problem, right? I mean, ultimately, that's part of the problem with the fight that we see.
Expand
right?
on that.
Is because those people that's 0.5%. They're willing to go pound the table and scream and holler and hoot and do whatever the hell they think they're doing, while we just want to be left the fuck alone. So then we go and just like, oh, I don't want to deal with these bullshit fucking people. It's just like, when you're walking through the woods and you're getting harassed by a non-hunter, right? You just kind of walk away. You're the guy with the weapon and you don't want no problems. You just want to enjoy your hunt, so you just walk away. And I think a lot of times that's what happens, is we just don't want to deal with the shit. So in order not to deal with it, we walk away. They sit there hooting and hollering. We walk away. Hey, we're victorious, right? Because any win for them, or any perceived win for them, is a fucking win. Like, you didn't win a fucking thing here, right? I'm still going about my business, doing my thing.
I just went to plan B or plan C or plan D in my hunt plan, and you didn't do anything other than cost me some time.
Right. But that attitude, and I've had it, right? That attitude is where I shouldn't say, oh fuck them, I don't care. That's why we're where we are.
You get a lot more vulgar. I notice you use a lot more cuss words when you're on the Western Huntsman podcast.
I
love it.
Absolutely do, man. You get me going. No, I think that's part of it, and I've had those instances where it's like, I'm gonna wait right here before I walk over there because I know it's just gonna be, a shit show. And then me and my buddy were hunting one day, and we, the way the trail was, we came out of our area, we're walking down the trail, and we had these, I think it was 3 girls, 2 dudes, and the girls were just irate that we were hunting.
Really?
Couldn't fucking believe it. I mean, they were.
I've never experienced that, man. That's crazy.
California. And the dudes were standing there kind of embarrassed, they're not going to say shit, because they don't want to get the same, ass whooping.
Well, that's the thing. Like women could be a lot more mouthy because they're not going to get their ass whooped. Like a dude.
And yeah, right. And it's like, well, okay, these guys got weapons. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, there's some caution you need to err on the side of.
Yeah.
And we're nice about it. My buddy Drew, he was like ready to fuck you, and big giant sumbitch. And I'm like, look, this is, we have tags. This is absolutely 110% legal for us to be here as national forest, blah, blah, blah. Just kind of tried to walk them through it. And they just kept going. And, we could hear this doe rustling around. And we called this area doe field, by the way, because there was always doe and fawn in it. And I looked at him and I said, dude, if that fucking doe shows her face with them standing here, fucking cap it. Just fucking shoot it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and now I think that was kind of the realization for me, of I can't walk away from it. You know, I have to deal with it head on, because it'll never get any easier or better. And at the end of, you know, the fiasco, if you will, you know, it was just still the one instigator lady that was talking shit and, you know, pissed off we were doing it. And the other two had quieted down, and the dudes never said anything. But I think us addressing it head on, and it doesn't have to be, you know, in a harmful way to us, but having the dialogues, and how we approach it, you know, and we're up against a lot, dude. I mean, you look at social media, and you know, if you fart in the wrong way on social media as a hunter, you know, you get like right now, I got the shadow ban because I'll get on, you know, a 2A post or something like that, and I'll make a comment.
Oh, really?
Dude, I did.
Is the shadow ban where they like hide your profile or whatever?
Oh,
is that what that means?
So yes, like maybe my content sucks and nobody likes it. Maybe that's it, right? But I've seen a difference since, you know, because you get tired of being quiet, right? You get tired
I do too.
Of not,
I have a hard time, especially on Facebook,
yeah,
man.
You get tired of not being quiet.
Yeah.
You know, and not standing up for what you believe in and your values. And
well,
as soon as I started doing that, that motherfucker tanked.
That's interesting. I didn't know. See, I always look at it like I don't think I'm like a big enough deal to get shadow banned for me.
It's
you
funny,
know, and
though,
so, but I want to.
Even just with hunting.
No, I know, and I want to ask you something about that, because I don't know, like with the 2A stuff, you know, I get super vocal about that. I get rowdy about the 2A stuff, and I think, you know, there's been a lot of contention lately because of these congressmen that are coming up with this anti-Pittman, you know, the Return Act that tries to gut the Pittman-Robertson Act, and I had an episode about it. Then I listened to like Chris Rowe, who like rips my opinion apart on one side, but I think, you know, Chris, if you ever listen to this, you got to understand one thing, dude. Like when a liberal Democrat comes out with shitty legislation proposals, such as the one that was going to add 1,000% excise tax on firearm purchases, we expect that out. We do. Like these are freaking bedwetting liberals, and this is what they think of, and this is what they conjure up. We expect it. We do not expect something as successful as the Pittman-Robertson Act to be even proposed, because now that can of worms is open permanently by the right, the pro-Second Amendment people who have always had a sense of pride and a badge of honor over this. Anyways,
right, but
that's a totally different.
I'm gonna argue.
Okay, argue. Bring it on, brother. Bring it.
Right, because why is that the only thing we're doing? That's the problem.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Why is the only thing we're doing?
It's not the only thing we're doing, but that is our. You know, when I buy this shit, I'm contributing to Pittman-Robertson. Mm-hmm. Right. When I get my hunting license, I'm a master of conservation. I sent off my $35 for this membership, so I'm a PLO, we'll say.
Sure.
And I got my fucking T-shirt, right? So there's but that can't be the extent of it. That shit cannot be the extent of it. And when you look at what the Pittman-Robertson Act was back then, right? This is this big change, this big stand-up. Right, this coming together, if you will, to make the decision to pay that 11%.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck have we done? I mean, honestly, what have we done?
What are you asking? Like, what has who done? Like, just your average hunter?
What have we done as sportsmen? What have we done as sportsmen that has been so grand that we think that we can ride the coattails of something for 60 fucking years, 70 years,
80,
and think that that's enough?
Well, okay. Let me answer that in a couple of different ways, because I'm gonna let you answer it. Okay.
Chris Rowe, yeah, we know that you're gonna be swinging at this motherfucker.
Dude, Chris knows I love him. Chris knows I
love
him.
Chris is a motherfucking man. Bro.
Yeah, I love Chris, and I'd be happy to talk about this with him. It's not that I'm in 100% disagreement with Chris. I'm just not in 100% agreement with him either.
Right.
Because you will not find a bigger advocate for the Second Amendment than I am. And so I just think that the inappropriate response to any of this is to have a reactionary piece of legislation that tries to dismantle one of the very few pieces of successful legislation our shit-faced federal government has ever managed to make happen and make work. Because generally we both know that things coming out, and I don't care what side it comes from, Democrat or Republican, things coming out of Washington, D.C., it rarely works. It's rarely efficient. It's rarely effective. But you asked the question as to why we are patting ourselves on the back for Pittman Robertson. But who else out there has recovered these species that were on the brink of extinction? It wasn't PETA. It wasn't the Humane Society of the United States.
No, absolutely not.
Or that singer Sarah McLachlan or
but,
whatever
but
the hell
there's
her
more
name is.
to there's more to the picture, right?
There is a lot more. So it's a 50-50 split, right? So conservation efforts are paid for by hunters, and I like having that. But half of that comes from Pittman Robertson funds, which is about $1 billion, $1 billion or so thus far, and the other half comes from license sales. And it's a good workable system. It's just like I get the same vitriol like reaction when I hear of a well, it doesn't matter what party they're from, but it generally comes from the right, where they want to come after public lands, and they don't believe in the concept of public lands, and they act like it once belonged to the state and it's time to give it back. A, that's not telling the story. You're lying. B, I'll put it to you this way. I am super conservative. Like I am super conservative guy. I don't know that people listening to my show actually know the depths of my convictions. Okay, like I am not just kind of right leaning. I am super conservative. Chris Rowe, if you're listening, I am more conservative than you are. And so,
well, you know what though? But here's the thing with that, right? There is this air about when we say left and right at this point, right? And in this, there's this air about it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being uber conservative, especially when the person that's saying they're uber conservative is willing to have a freaking dialogue, right? When you're willing to have a dialogue, you're like, okay, I could have some flaw here. Sway me a little bit. You know?
And that's the beauty of it, though, because we're grown-ups, man. Me and you, we can have a little bit of difference of opinion. We can still go hunting next month. Chris and I, or you and Chris, or however you want to mash that up, Chris Rowe. We can disagree about a couple of these things, and it doesn't mean that we're not friends. I'd still love to go to Kansas and do a whitetail hunt with Chris. It doesn't take that away, and that's where society has gotten so fucked up. Like, we have a different opinion about what this or Congressman Clyde, whatever, I don't know what he is. I think he's a congressman out of Georgia, introduces this legislation to gut Pittman Robertson Acts. We have a different reaction to it. That does not mean we're not friends. Now, could I be friends with the douchebag that introduced legislation to add a 1,000% excise tax on assault weapons or whatever they want to call assault weapons? They're not freaking assault weapons, by the way, folks. Anyway, no, I'm not going to be friends with that guy. That is unconstitutional. It's against the foundational principles of our free society and our country and what has made the best quality of life for human beings in the history of the world. And you guys want to fuck that up. So, no, I'm not going to be friends with that guy. But to have these differences, like I'll tell you what, you live in Colorado, I live in Idaho, you wear Birkenstocks, I drink man beer. You know, those kind of...
You wear cowboy boots and ain't got a fucking cowboy bone in your body.
No, I have a cowboy bone, but they're wannabe cowboy bones. Listen, I got on a bull one time, and I lasted like 2.3 seconds.
Hey, brother,
and that was the last time.
That's more than most people would ever attempt.
That's the last time I did it. Oh, I take that back. I did try it when we were deployed overseas with the Marine. We were in Kosovo. And there were these small, they weren't even bulls. They were cows with horns, whatever breed that is. That's how much not a cowboy I am. I don't know what kind of cows these were. But some of my Marine buddies dared me to jump on the bull or the back of this cow with horns, and I did. and I think I lasted 1.5 seconds. But they got pictures of me getting launched off it in my uniform.
Hey, bro, I was the king of drunk ass electric bull rides in Tijuana when we go down. We were like 17, fake IDs, going to T-Bay to party and drink.
Oh, that's
I
fantastic.
could get on that damn electric bull, man, and ride the hell out of that son of a bitch.
I'll bet you could, brother.
Oh, man, that shit was
man,
fun.
I don't want to keep you too long. I know you got family in town. I got family in town. And I think the biggest thing, because I think we covered some ground, but we didn't cover enough tonight, so we're going to have to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I'm always game.
We need to get back onto our little rhythm here, man, where we bring in somebody else and we try to solve all the world's problems. I really like doing that.
I'll hit Chris up, dude.
Yeah, hit Chris up, dude. Let's do it.
I'll hit Chris up.
Yeah, hit Chris
That'd
up.
be badass.
I texted him.
No, man,
I had him on a couple months ago, and we were supposed to talk about some other subject, and ended up talking about elk. So I made it a School of September episode, and which is usually what happens with us. And so it'd be great to get him back on, and I really do respect and like Chris's perspective.
It's not about agreeing with him, right? What I appreciate, it's not just the perspective.
No, it's not. It's not agreeing. I just respect it. I respect his perspective.
The fact
he thinks
that
about
he
it.
has, the fact that he has the balls enough to say, "Hey, slow down, motherfuckers," and think about and look at both sides, or all sides of this before you rush to action and judgment.
Yeah, for sure.
And that agreeing or disagreeing is a moot point, right? But just the fact that he's saying, "Hey, sportsmen, pay attention. Don't just jump on a bandwagon because you think it's the thing to do and you ain't done fuck all else." And when he goes on those, we ain't doing shit things, and I think we could be doing a lot more.
I couldn't agree with that more. Yeah.
The hard part is, where does that start? Right, and how does that start?
I think that is a good goal to maybe come up with some solutions over the next 12 months, like for you and I to have some of these discussions. Where can we start? Where can we be better? Where can we improve? Because just being a hunter and buying your license and knowing that you contributed and you helped with the Pittman Robertson and blah blah blah, and maybe you're a member of Rocky Mountain Elk, that's just not enough anymore. That's not enough. And I've had that feeling for a long time, and that is why it's not I have attention deficits or whatever, or needing or whatever we just talk. See, I do have attention deficit. I forgot what you were making fun of me about earlier, but that's what it is. I wanted to make a difference because I felt like what we were doing is just not enough, and I feel like you feel that way. I think Chris feels that way. I think a lot of hunters out there do feel that way, and they feel kind of helpless in a sense of like, what do we do? What do we do to be better? What do we do to protect the future for our kids? And that's, I think, what I want to achieve.
For our kids. Now honestly, and I think I said it last year, like I never thought that I would feel like I had to fight for my privilege, my right to go on the mountain and chase animals.
I know,
dude. In the last couple of years, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm not just doing this for the future generations. I need to ensure that I could do this shit into my 80s.
Exactly.
It's fucking scary.
Exactly.
It's a scarier prospect.
Or what if you're somebody in Washington? What if you're a Washington resident, and now you have to wonder if you're ever going to have a bear season in the spring again, or are they going to take it a step further and get rid of fall bear?
Look at Oregon. What was that? SB 13 or some shit in Oregon?
That crazy ass legislation. Yeah, fucking nut, man.
Utopia.
That sissy. I pointed him out. I found him. I tracked him down and got a message to him to come on my show, and he wouldn't dare unless I.
They won't do it.
Yeah,
they'll never.
He's like, if we can agree that animals shouldn't die for human consumption or some shit, some stupid. Whatever.
That motherfucker better be eating rocks and sand grains.
Yeah,
right.
Seriously.
Because come on, man.
Grow up. Yeah. It's so people, unrealistic. Grow up.
They never want to have the conversation with us.
No.
I've tried and tried and tried till I was blue in the face.
I was super nice too. I was super nice. I said, hey, I saw it's IP 13, I believe.
Yes.
Or IP 33 or whatever. Anyway, it's an absolutely ludicrous, unrealistic proposition, but it'll never happen, today or maybe probably not even in the next 10 to 20 years. But my concern is that there are people that actually think that that's a legitimate position to take,
It's
And it's nuts, dude. Like I get after enough whiskey, I think about stuff like that, and I get so freaking mad. Like who the fuck? Where do the fuck do these people come from?
You gotta go up to your high camera and just say fuck this and detox.
Yeah,
that's
a good idea. I like it.
It is the only way to, in my head, to deal with some of this shit is you gotta escape it every now and again just to clear your path.
Yeah,
because it's
totally agree.
So much all the time. It's like this shit is unhealthy. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're standing on, or if you're in the middle, the shit is unhealthy to have this much. It
totally is, man.
Mayhem.
Dude, I just put out like that bear episode I did on YouTube, and I was watching back, and dude, I look old. Like I look old in that. I'm only 41 years old, and I look like I'm 60. Like I'm like Chris Rose age or something. No, I'm kidding. See, now if he wouldn't agree to come on before, now he's going to come on. He's got to defend his honor.
Yeah,
that son of a bitch made fun of me. What's that? Let's do that.
No, I said I'll hit Chris up, man.
I'll hit him up. You hit him up, cool. and let's get him on for one of those episodes where we kind of doing these panel discussions and the biggest thing, again, I know we both got family in town, so we should probably wrap it up, but. Congratulations on the move, man. I can't wait to see like how your hunting season goes down. I think it's going to be a lot better for you. A lot less miles on the truck for sure. And
oh yeah,
I love following your Instagram because you've got all these new adventures going on, and that, my friend, is what it's all about. And I appreciate it.
Got to get out and live, my brother. I appreciate the opportunity. Anytime you ask me to get on, man, it's an honor.
Well, again, this is just re-engaging from where we left off prior to you leaving.
Leaving the world.
leaving the world.
Yeah.
So thanks again for coming on, dude. I appreciate it.
No, brother, awesome. I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
All right, my brother.
You made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. We sure appreciate your support. This is Jim Huntsman signing off and reminding you to check us out at Instagram at The Western Huntsman and on Facebook at The Western Huntsman. And you can also check out the website at thewesternhuntsman.com. Thanks again. We'll see you guys next time. Stay Western, and I'll see you on the mountain.